Welcome top news today.
West Palm Beach, Fla. President Trump's vulgar comments disparaging Haiti, El Salvador and African countries reverberated across the country Friday, including in one immigrant-rich state central to the GOP's political fortunes where the party was already facing headwinds: Florida. Trump's reference to shithole countries in an Oval Office meeting with lawmakers Thursday sent Florida Gov. Rick Scott, a close ally the president is courting to run for the U.S. Senate, scrambling to distance himself from the controversy. Republican lawmakers issued strongly worded statements condemning what the leader of the party said, and got strategists and activists worried about the fallout in a battleground that is home to one of the country's largest populations of Latin Americans. Trump's presidential victory hinged heavily on his surprise win in Florida, which Republicans are trying to build on in this year's midterm elections. But the drag of Trump's polarizing actions and words can be felt acutely in some quarters of this state, where marquee elections for a Senate seat and the governorship will play out this year, and which is expected to be as pivotal in the 2020 presidential contest as it was in 2016. It's not helping, Michael Barnett, vice chairman of the Florida Republican Party, said of Trump's remarks. Barnett, an African-American attorney in Palm Beach County who is close to the Haitian community there, added, "As far as making our job harder, we've been through a lot already with him." Some Florida Republicans quickly condemned the president's remarks. Sen. Marco Rubio issued a series of tweets Friday praising Haitian Americans for their contributions to the country. Hours before that started, Rep. Carlos Curbelo RFLA, who is running for re-election in a battleground South Florida district, tweeted, "Under no circumstances is it acceptable to degrade, denigrate, or dehumanize immigrants who are in the United States under what is known as temporary protected status." Marchers head out in Miami's Little Haiti neighborhood Friday to commemorate the earthquake that struck the island several years ago, and to protest President Trump's disparaging remarks about the island. Andrew Inararity for The Washington Post. The president's Oval Office insult during a discussion about negotiations over immigration policy followed months of other behavior that has threatened to undercut Republicans in Florida. After Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico in September, Trump told local officials they should feel very proud they hadn't lost hundreds of lives like in a real catastrophe like Hurricane Katrina. Later, he gave the federal response a 10, even as the island territory was struggling to recover. In 2016, Florida was home to nearly 1.1 million Puerto Ricans, second only to New York. By one estimate, after last year's storm, at least 100,000 Puerto Ricans were expected to relocate to Florida, at least on a temporary basis. More recently, the Trump administration announced plans to expand oil drilling in most waters of the U.S. continental shelf, a move opposed by governors from New Jersey to Florida. A few days later, officials announced an exemption for Florida, an apparent recognition of the political peril of the expansion in a crucial state, but a move that Sen. Bill Nelson DFLA called a political stunt. The White House declined to say whether Trump was personally involved in the decision to exempt Florida, where the president owns Mar-a-Lago, an oceanfront club in Palm Beach. On Friday, Florida Democrats remain focused on Trump's shithole remark. People are listening carefully to what the president is saying, and they're internalizing the racism, xenophobia and hatred he is spreading, said Lauren Baer, a Democrat who is running for Congress in Florida's 18th district. "I think that will affect what they do in the ballot box." In a written statement Thursday, Scott repudiated Trump's coarse remark. "If this report is true, it is absolutely wrong to say I think this. I do not think this way, nor do I agree with this kind of sentiment. I represent Florida, and we are an amazing melting pot where over 250 languages are spoken," the Republican governor said. "I work every day to make this the most welcoming state for everyone, Haitians, Cubans, Venezuelans, and others from all around the world that call Florida home." According to a 2010 census publication, of the estimated 830,000 people in the United States in 2009 with Haitian ancestry, about two-thirds lived in Florida, with around 376,000, and New York, with 191,000. The president's remarks came at a moment of frustration during an Oval Office meeting Thursday as Republican and Democratic lawmakers presented an opening bid for a broad immigration package. The deal included a solution for dreamers, young immigrants brought to this country illegally as children, as well as improvements to border security and changes to two other elements of the immigration system, one allowing U.S. citizens to sponsor certain relatives for citizenship, and the other, known as the diversity visa lottery, that distributes 50,000 visas annually to nations with low rates of migration to the United States. Trump became angry during a conversation about the visa lottery program, which benefits some African countries, and about the temporary protected status afforded to immigrants from certain nations, including El Salvador and Haiti. "Why do we need more Haitians?" Trump said, according to several people briefed on the meeting. "Take them out." Trump has aggressively courted Scott to run for the Senate, but those who know him are mixed about how likely he is to take the plunge. One associate said the governor is continuing to gear up for a likely campaign and plans to host at least a pair of fundraisers for his political operation this month. If Scott runs against Nelson, his personal fortune and name recognition across the state would, at a minimum, probably force Democrats to invest millions in Florida they could otherwise spend elsewhere. At a maximum, Scott could compete seriously for a seat that could help Republicans keep the narrow Senate majority, which stands at 51 to 49. As Scott decides whether to run, having Trump in his corner on the campaign trail is an increasingly dubious prospect.